for more on this story, we are now joined in studio by Communications Workers Union General Secretary Aubrey Tshabalala. Aubrey, welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening.
Now, Aubrey, you guys had an initial wage demand of 15%, but you've now revised it. Why did you revise it?
Okay, firstly, we entered into negotiation with good faith. You'll realize that the company started on 0%. It has moved up right up until 6.5%. And the ball was on our side whether we're moving down, and that's exactly what we've done. But what is important is that before we even do anything, we went to the length and the breadth of the country, engaged with every member of CWU, making sure that we have a full consultation, and that's what has happened. And this is what we have consolidated after a number of provinces have submitted their demands in terms of their provincial mandates.
Now, take us through this revised wage demand. What exactly does it entail?
What it says is basically we are saying 8%. However, we've broken into two phases. The first phase is that 7.5% must be backdated till the month of April 2014. And then the 0.5% will be added in January, which will make a complement of 8%. However, we're going further. We're saying next year, April, at the beginning of the financial year, and it must be 8% plus the CPI, so which will just take workers just above the poverty lines.
Now, today you had a media briefing announcing that you've got this revised wage offer. Have you met, as the Communications Workers Union, have you met with the South African Post Office management, and what are they saying?
Well, we have submitted the offer. It also includes the conversion of workers, which they firstly said that it will be for a period of 2 years, 6 months. Now, we have reduced that to 1 year, 4 months. Every month there will be an intake, starting with the first month, which is this November. We are talking to 952 workers that must be converted with immediate effect. We are not buying the story of company does not have money. The second point that we have raised is that there are workers who were dismissed. 588 workers were re-employed, but at a lower level with lower salaries. We demand that they should be reinstated in their positions with their actual salaries. Now, that is amongst the things that we have put on the table. So we have sent this to management for them to look into it. And obviously, if they are serious about the productivity, they are serious about stability, they are looking for a permanent solution, they must obviously accept that after the flaws that they've made, mismanagement of funds, misappropriation, and all of that, this is the best that we can offer CWU because we have done our utmost best.
Now, you mentioned that you've submitted the revised wage demand. Now, when do you plan on actually meeting management, if you are going to meet them, and discuss a way forward?
Look, there was a meeting planned today which we have declined with the management. We don't believe in entering into negotiations just for talk show purposes. We have sent them the proposal. We are expecting them that at least by tomorrow they should come back to us, and we don't expect them to engage us further on this proposal. We want them to sign so that we can go to workers and say we have sealed the deal. Can we now start to engage? Because there's a number of underlying factors. But we remain steadfast on saying that the entire executive management that has been there must go. We are saying that the board must be dissolved. We are steadfast on those positions. And we say that before you bring about stability, you have to outroot corruption completely.
Now, in this strike that's been happening this year and the one of last year, a recurring issue has been that of labor brokers. Now, why is it so difficult for you as a union and for also perhaps the South African Post Office to resolve this issue of labor brokers?
We are living in a capitalist society which by nature is flooded by corruption. We have signed a series of agreements with the South African Post Office. They chose to actually ignore the bargaining processes and embark on the backdoor type of negotiations, which have created disparate strikes from period to one time to another, where they've agreed with a particular group of workers and ignore the other particular group of workers, and furthermore just neglected the bargaining processes. This is what has led to. Hence, we are saying that this management, you don't have any reason to keep them. We want a management that will respect the law, will respect the processes, but more so respect the public funds. But think about those people who are staying in the rural areas, who rely on post office for a sole service that it provides. Think about those who are relying on post office for chronic medication. Think about those students who are distance learners who are in the rural areas who rely from that. So this management is completely not capable of doing that.
Now, just finally, Aubrey, this strike has been going on for about 3 months now. How has it affected your members? And most importantly, how have your members survived without income for this long?
Well, negatively. That's why we are committed in bringing about the stability. Hence, we are now tomorrow saying that we want to go to the Treasury. We are going to march to the Treasury in Pretoria. We are going to say to the Treasury, it's very hypocrite of government to say that all companies must utilize South African Post Office. At the same time, government is not utilizing Post Office in a number of areas. So we're saying that government must invest by utilizing Post Office. There's about 20 billion rands that they spend on international courier freight. Only 50% of that business will create new jobs for South Africans, but will bring more business for restructuring and also for universal service obligations to service the poor and so on. So that's why we are putting more efforts and turning our arsenals to government to look into that particular question.
Thank you so much for your time, Aubrey.
I'm grateful. Thank you for having me.